What's going on, guys? Welcome to the No BS podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about the NBA trade deadline.
Woo!
We're going to play some NFL games. But first, let's talk about Nicholas Foles.
All right, guys, quick question before we get into the meat and potatoes, as they say, of this episode. Where will Nick Foles end up? I'll give a few options: Jags, Broncos, Dolphins, Redskins, or will he stay in Philadelphia? We have a very special guest on the podcast today, Mr. Owen. Owen, why don't you give us your answer first?
I definitely have to pick Philadelphia, city of brotherly love. It's a strong group of brothers over there in Philly, so wouldn't be surprised if he stayed.
But don't you think he wants to start?
Wouldn't be surprised if he stayed.
Okay, I see that. But don't you think that he wants to be a starting quarterback?
No, I don't think he does. He's a very religious man. I think he believes that God has a plan, and if that plan is him being a backup behind Carson Wentz, who, in my opinion, is the inferior quarterback over there.
Inferior?
Correct.
Wow.
I
mean,
concur.
look. Let's be real. Backup quarterback is the best job in the NFL. No doubt about it. You're getting paid. You don't have to do much of
Usually
anything.
backup quarterbacks don't get paid nearly the salary of starting quarterbacks.
And they're not getting hit or doing anything.
I mean, I'd rather get $20 million and get hit than $1 million and not get hit.
And that's why you are as dumb as you are today.
Okay, wonderful. Dave, where do you think he's going?
I think it has to be the Jacksonville Jaguars, I think the Blake Bortles era is over, and they have to move on. I still think they're like a reasonable contender with that defense, but a new quarterback is like a must-have for that team, and I feel like Nick Foles and them would be a good fit. And I think that's where he's going to go this summer.
Disagree.
Poor K.
Because if he goes to the Jags, what weapons does he have to throw to? I mean, I don't think he's going to be able to succeed in that type of scenario. I think the Jags, they're picking at the top of the draft, number 7. I think they're going to draft a quarterback, probably Dwayne or Kyler, and I think he's going to be going to the Miami Dolphins. That offense is a bit more solidified than the other ones.
Give me a couple names.
Kenny Stills, Danny Amendola, Devontae Parker,
But
Kenyon Drake.
trash.
I mean, they're not. I think they're better than D.D. Westbrook.
D.D.
Would you agree?
D.D. Westbrook is the real deal. Trust me.
I just think of the names of the teams that we've named, I think the Dolphins or the Broncos are the only two that are kind of ready and have the weapons around him. Tyler, what do you have to say about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds good, but again, I think the backup life is a great life.
But he doesn't want to be a backup quarterback.
He was considering retiring, and he knows his spot in Philly, and I think he doesn't have an issue with it.
I think he does. He said he wants to be a starting quarterback. He
Okay.
said that.
Okay.
Okay?
Who's your source?
Nick Foles himself.
I know him personally.
Okay. Let's move on to some NBA trade deadline discussion. We're going to go over, 4 major trades. There are a few other, minor trades, but we'll go over the main ones. So we're just going to talk about them a bit and then say who won each trade. So the first one, Marc Gasol to the Toronto Raptors for Jonas Valanciunas, DeLon Wright, C.J. Miles, and a 2024 second-round pick. David, start us off.
I think it's a decent trade for both sides, but I think this definitely elevates the Raptors. But in my opinion, the Eastern Conference is just either the Raptors or the Sixers, maybe the Celtics.
Oh, maybe?
Maybe.
Definitely the Celtics.
I don't know. Well, going back to Toronto, I think
bias.
Marc Gasol definitely gives this team a little bit more depth. But Valanciunas was a good piece, but they just upgraded with Gasol, and they're looking pretty lethal right now.
Yeah, they are looking good. They got a pretty good starting 5. I think it was good for both teams. Owen, who do you think won the deal?
I'm going to have to say the Raptors.
For what reason?
Because Marc Gasol is a legend. He's played in the league for 10-plus years by now.
Uh-huh.
He's had playoff experience. He's played with the greats. So I think he's ready for any curveballs the league has to throw at him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's been in Memphis for a while. So let's say Markelle Fultz to the Orlando Magic for Jonathan Simmons, our first and a second. Tyler, what do you have to say?
I think it's great for the 76ers.
Really?
He's a bust.
Is he though?
Yes.
I mean, I don't think you can
I
tell
think
right
so.
now.
Yeah.
No, I
it's
think
only
you
been-
can tell right now.
It's
We
a little
actually,
over a
so the
year.
76ers weren't even really using him that much.
I mean, he was
Because he was
injured.
injured.
Again, they weren't even using him that much. He even when he was healthy, wasn't getting very much playing time.
Mhm.
I think he was just kind of a roster filler, if I'm being honest. They
He
got
was
a
the number
lot.
one.
They got a lot of new talent, and right now we're looking at 4 potential All-Stars on that team. So they're right up there with the Warriors nowadays.
Yeah.
I think 4 All-Stars, 5 All-Stars. It's honestly
What's the
flip a
difference?
coin.
Flip a coin, yeah.
Yeah.
They're not getting out of the East. Dave, what do you have to
Oh.
say?
I mean, Foles is a former number 1 pick just 2 years ago.
A year and a half ago.
Year and a half ago. He was a number 1 overall pick over my boy Lonzo, over Tatum.
I want you to look back in the NBA history at Kwame Brown. Great example. Number 1 overall pick. Absolute bust.
I mean, it's only been a year and a half, but Kwame Brown
It's
was
not enough time to
Exactly.
tell.
Yeah.
I think it is enough time to tell.
Really?
wow.
I mean, he
Yeah.
wouldn't have been taken number 1
No,
if he
he's-
didn't have
he's-
some type of talent.
He's pretty bad.
All right, but he wouldn't
You
have
can
been
be a
taken
great.
number 1
You can
overall
be a
if he
great.
didn't have
You
some
can
type
be a
of
great
potential.
college player and a horrendous NBA player.
That's
You see it-
completely valid, but
You
I
see it all the
think,
time, and he's just another example of that.
I think the upside is there for Markel as opposed to a late first-round draft pick that probably won't even get you anything. I mean, like Jonathan Simmons, he's not going to really be a difference maker in
He's
a
just
playoff run.
he's just for depth. He's just for depth. Simply
Right.
for depth.
Okay, so like, why do this move? I mean, Foles has potential.
1 for depth.
A first and second rounder gives you a lot of potential. Foles
Also,
hasn't
yeah.
been doing
After
any,
after
think-
this season, definitely some high hopes. Most likely a late playoff team. Hopefully, getting out of the East
Hopefully.
after a tough loss to the Celtics last year.
Yeah.
But I mean that again, that was without Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't have anybody to guard Terry Rozier.
Scary Terry.
Scary Terry. He, if I'm being honest, as a Sixers fan, he took it to us last year. This year, we got Jimmy Butler to lock him down. So I think high hopes, which means we'll have a later pick, and that's fine because we will be going really far this year. But
likely winning.
again, that's why they made that trade to get that first and second round
Mhm.
picks, and I think that'll definitely help them.
I think it's a good trade for Orlando, though. I mean, from their side of things, they don't really have anything to lose. They're pretty
Yeah.
bad. I mean, they're just taking a shot in the dark here. From one Sixer trade to another, the Sixers also got Tobias Harris, Boban, Mike Scott for 2 first-round picks, Landry Shamet, Wilson Chandler, and some other second-round picks. Tyler, your team, the Sixers, good move or bad move?
It's a great move.
Great move.
Getting rid of a bunch of bums.
True.
Tobias is a dog.
He's a dog.
He's a dog, so we're good. I
So-
think it's a good move.
So who do you think wins the trade in the long run?
76ers.
Why?
They win this year.
You think they're winning it all this year?
Hell yeah.
I don't know about that. I think it's a good deal for the Clippers too. What about you, Dave?
I mean, it's a decent deal for Clippers. They get some good picks, but I think Tobias Harris adds, some more fuel to the fire that is the 76ers, and it does make them a serious contender in the East. So I think it's a great move.
He's also a free agent next year. So from the Clippers' perspective, I guess they weren't planning on re-signing him. So they're like, we might as well trade him rather than let him walk for nothing. And so the Clippers also got Miami's, I think, 2021 unprotected pick. And Miami, I don't think they'll be very good then. So it'll probably turn out to be a good pick for the Clippers, who are probably going to try and go after Kawhi this offseason, maybe try and throw a package out for Anthony Davis. Speaking of Anthony Davis, quick side note, 1 year from today, where will AD be?
He will be playing for the Los Angeles Lakers, baby. With
Incorrect.
how?
I mean, from the reports that we're hearing, they've given up a lot, right?
They have.
They've given up Lonzo, Kuz, Ingram, and like 2 first-round picks, and Josh Hart, and Rondo, and Beasley. They gave up like basically their whole team, and for AD, and the Pelicans still said no. So I don't know what more LA has to offer.
I mean, AD wants out.
I know he wants out. I know he wants out, and I think the Pelicans are probably.
And he
eventually
wants to go
going
to LA.
settle.
He wants to go to LA.
He wants to go to LA, yes, but I think he's going to the Celtics. I mean, I think the Celtics are the only team that could make a legitimate offer that the Pelicans are really gonna like. The Pelicans, they said that they wanted a franchise player, And I think Jason Tatum is a franchise player. I don't know if Lonzo, Kuzma, or Brandon Ingram are franchise guys. They're good players, sure. And I think they can be decent role players. But they're not going to be like the star player on a championship team where I think Tatum could.
I think they're going to need to offer up more than just Tatum.
No,
personally.
yeah, they'll have to do more than Tatum
No,
first.
Not only just a little more than Tatum. They need a lot more than just Tatum.
Probably Tatum, Al Horford, and
Al Horford is
an old.
decent.
He's on his
He
last
can apply
legs.
for a 401k right now.
That
No, I
could
think
be true. For
you
all
can
I know.
go Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart.
I think they
Jason
should keep
Tatum in
Jaylen
the
Brown.
first.
Jaylen Brown's an
I
athlete.
would like them to keep Tatum, but I don't think that's it. I think like they have the Kings pick this year, and so that'll.
I think they're just going to need to make some serious moves if they want to get AD. He's a top prospect for all
But from
teams.
the Lakers' perspective, like why would you want to do that deal, giving up basically your whole team for him?
LeBron wants him. That's all that matters.
Yeah, but we've seen
Honestly,
LeBron.
LeBron runs the league. What he says goes.
Exactly.
But we've seen LeBron play with no one on his team, and they've suffered. His first few years in Miami,
I would disagree with
They didn't
that.
really
I
have
wish you
much
look back
guys.
at Cleveland.
I mean, he wasn't able to win. He wasn't able to win when he had no one. When he got guys, when he had Kyrie and
he
Kevin
got a
Love
team
healthy,
with
then he was able to win.
His starting shooting guard was Delonte West.
When? For Cleveland?
Yes.
The second time around or the
No,
first?
the first time around.
And
Yeah,
he
and
didn't
they-
win a championship, my point.
But you see how far he went.
Yeah, but he
give him
didn't
a-
win a championship. That
You give
doesn't
him a
matter.
little- You give him a little time.
I mean, you have a lineup of
How
LeBron.
many games has he played in LA so far? You have any idea?
I would say around 35 with his
That's
injury this year.
Barely any games.
And so when Anthony Davis comes, he's going to have to play with a brand new group of guys because they're going to have to basically trade their whole team. I don't know if it's worth it for the Lakers personally, trading all your young guys just for AD. And LeBron, he's great and all, but how much longer is he going to play for?
If they're not getting
he
80,
continues to disprove theories about how long
That
he'll
is
stay
true.
in this league.
That's
He is
true.
the superior athlete,
I would say Tom Brady is.
and that's where you're wrong yet again.
You're stupid.
Okay.
Thanks for your input, Tyler.
Shall we move on? Chris Stapps, Tim Hardaway, Courtney Lee, Trey Burke for DeAndre Jordan, Dennis Smith, 2 first-round picks, and Wesley Matthews. David, our Knicks fan over here. Good deal or bad deal for your team?
this trade hurts, but I mean, I felt like it was going to come. Porzingis wanted out, and he's going to be free agent, I think, by 2020, I believe.
Well, he was a restricted free agent this year.
Yeah,
And so,
so-
if he accepts the qualifying, he could be unrestricted.
Yeah, but I don't think he wasn't gonna. Yeah, so I don't think he wasn't gonna resign with the Knicks next year. So I feel like it was bound to happen. They got some okay pieces in Dennis Smith Jr. and the first, but personally, I don't think that's enough because DeAndre Jordan, he's not like the same.
He's not going to be on the team long term.
Yeah, Wesley Matthews can apply for 401k as well. Honestly, it seems like a stereotypical Knicks move to draft such a great player and then trade him away. But it was bound to happen.
I think we have to wait and see what the Knicks do in free agency because they make this move. They trade away Tim Hardaway Jr., who's making over $18 million. So they want to be contenders in free
They
agency.
did clear a lot of cap space with Tim Hardaway and Courtney Lee.
And Courtney Lee, and even Kristaps, who's going to have to get paid.
Right.
So I think if they get, say, hypothetically, KD,
Kyrie.
and not Kyrie, you're not getting Kyrie. KD and let's say Jimmy Butler or Kemba Walker, then I think it's a good deal. But if they come away with, say, Tobias Harris and Nikola Vucevic, 2 decent NBA players, but nothing franchise changing, then it's a bad deal. So I think there's not much we can say about it right now. We kind of
agree.
just have to wait for the future.
Couldn't agree more.
Really? That's a first. What did you say?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, real quick, just give the finals matchup. Owen, start with you. Who's going to be in the finals this year?
Bold prediction here.
Okay.
Sixers versus Warriors.
I agree.
I don't think that's very bold, but Dave?
Going Raptors versus Warriors.
Oh, and I'll say Celtics versus Warriors.
Max, just a quick question here.
Yeah.
Do you know any other team in the NBA besides the Celtics?
I do. Thank you for asking.
Sorry, it's just the only name I've heard out of your mouth today.
Oh, that's completely false.
Next question.
I think they're legitimately the best team in the East. I mean, they have arguably.
I don't
they
think
have
you
the
know.
best
I don't think you
point
know the
guard.
Sixers' potential yet.
I agree. They have decent
Tobias
potential.
Harris in his first game, 2 for 3 from 3 points, downtown, 14 points, 8 rebounds. I mean, he's a big body, 6'8".
Mhm.
Do you have his weight?
I don't memorize.
Is he in a
weird
relationship
things like
right
that.
now?
I don't memorize weird
No?
things like that.
Does he have any dogs?
What's his favorite color?
Yet again, I don't memorize weird things.
Very
like that.
unprofessional.
No, and I think the Sixers, sure, they have stars, all right?
He's 235.
Thank you.
They have stars, but they have one thing. They don't have one thing that the Celtics do have, and that is depth. That is depth. If Gordon Hayward can be a fraction of what he was in Utah, I think the Celtics are not only...
I'd have to disagree. An example right here from the most recent trade, Tobias Harris, depth.
But yeah, but other than that, they've traded
Robert
away.
Covington.
He traded away. Dario Saric traded away.
Those
JJ
players were
Redick.
those players are the type of player that belong in Phoenix with the Suns. Just kind of
No, but I think
go in
outside
there
of,
to get some money before
outside
they die.
of the starting five, there's really no one there. Whereas for the Celtics, they have a really talented guys off the bench.
Name some, please.
Terry Rozier, Jaylen Brown, Gordon Hayward. Gordon Hayward was a top 20 player 2 years ago. Jaylen Brown was a monster in the postseason.
Can you repeat
as
that
well
again
as
about?
Terry Rozier.
Can you repeat that again about Gordon Hayward?
Gordon Hayward was a top 20 player two years ago in Utah. I believe so.
He was a top 5 small forward.
What does that have to
Yeah.
do with today?
Well, I mean, correct. He hasn't had a great year, and I will acknowledge that. But my
So
point
you
is,
can't say that they have.
all right, just
comfortable
disregard
subs.
him. Disregard him for a second.
Okay, and
Terry
then we're-
Rozier,
Yes, definitely.
Jaylen Brown.
It depends on the day.
What do you mean it depends?
Tobias
on the-
Harris, first game, helps the team out in a big victory. Overtime win.
I don't know. I think the Celtics defensively have it. Marcus Smart is an amazing defender.
I'll give you that.
Al Horford, he's not a scorer.
Also, you have to be
He's not a
careful.
scorer.
Marcus Smart, come big games,
But he's not
very
gonna be-
unpredictable with his actions.
He's not going to be
really
asked.
could cost the team. I see
He
that
likes
down
to
the
flop.
road.
He's not
He
going to
does
be
like
asked
to
to
flop.
play a big role. I think last postseason. Well, here, tell me this. Last postseason, when the Celtics did not have their best player or their second best player in Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward, they still beat the 76ers because of their lack of playoff experience.
Correct.
So I think
And now
this
we
year-
had that playoff
So I think
experience.
this year,
We gained Jimmy Butler.
and we gained Kyrie
We
Irving
just
and
got
Gordon
Tobias
Hayward.
Harris for some depth. I think, honestly, nobody truly knows the true potential of this team.
You keep talking about the word potential, but I think the Celtics are a team who've been there before. They've been to the Eastern Conference Finals. They took LeBron to 7 games without their 2 best players. These young guys are legit. Jason Tatum, Marcus Smart, Terry Rozier, Jaylen Brown, they're all really good, and they're ready for the big
LeBron,
stage.
honestly,
Whereas I'm
he
not
told
sure
me
if
the
some
other
of the
day, he was
Sixers
just
players
playing
are
with
ready.
you guys. He was playing with you
He
guys.
told you that.
He was getting his team some more playoff experience just because
Yeah.
he's been there a million times.
He wanted to play more games and
Correct.
get more wear and tear on his body.
It's just the snap of fingers and he wins a game.
I don't think Ben and Joel are really ready for the big stage. And Jimmy Butler, another unpredictable guy. He's
How
not
so?
really. Just look at him.
Just
He
looking
wanted
at
out.
it. Wow. Wise words from Max Bailey.
He wanted out of Chicago and he got out. He's not really happy anywhere he goes, and I think
I don't
he's
think you
unpredictable.
know his feelings.
Well, he
first of
literally
all.
said that he wants out of Minnesota.
And
he
he's
went
here
to
to stay.
practice.
He is-
he
he is-
cooked all the young guys and he cursed them and said, "I'm out."
He
What's
is-
to stop him from doing the same thing at Philly?
Because once again, I'm gonna keep saying this.
A winning mentality.
City of brotherly love. You gotta trust the process.
That changes everything.
You got. He's never played with 3 other All-Stars on the same team.
Tobias Harris isn't an all-star, but he's up there.
Yeah, but he
I-
was SEC All-Freshman team.
How do you know that? How do you know
Are
that?
you looking this up or no? You just have it off the top of your head.
Oh, I know.
Where'd he go? Where'd he go to college?
Tennessee.
Let's check that.
Tennessee Volunteers under Bruce Pearl, great coach.
That's correct. Okay. Shall we move on?
Sure.
NFL season wrapped up about a week ago, but that will not stop us from talking about fantasy football. Let's move on. James Conner or Melvin Gordon, who scored more points throughout this year?
Melvin.
Dave, what do you have to say?
I'm going with good old Melvin.
You're going with Melvin, even after the injury.
Connor got injured
Connor
too.
got injured too, right? Owen, what do you have to say?
The same thing. Melvin Gordon.
Kyler,
I'm going to change it up and go James Conner. And I
Okay.
know I'm correct.
you're incorrect.
Wow.
Let's see what the exact numbers are. But, yeah, Melvin Gordon, he had a lot of touchdowns early in the year, and James Conner, when he did come back, he wasn't nearly as effective. So let's see. Melvin Gordon had 225.5, and James Conner has 225.0. So really close. But Owen and David each get a point. Question number 2: Chris Carson or Derek?
Wait, was that PPR or not PPR?
This is non-PPR.
Well, you should have told me that.
Well, I didn't. Chris Carson or Derrick Henry? Tyler, start us off. Redeem yourself.
Chris Carson.
Chris Carson. Owen, what do you have to say?
Chris Carson for sure.
David?
I'm going with Christopher.
Christopher Carson?
Yes.
All right, you guys are all incorrect. I guess the big game's late for, what's his face?
The one big game for Derrick Henry.
Yeah, I mean, he had a lot of carries against the Giants.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, I mean anybody can run the ball against that team.
That's true. But it won't be true next year. So
That's what
next
they
year,
said last year.
next year, who would you rather have on your roster, Chris Carson or Derrick Henry?
Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry.
Oh, he's going to pick up right where he ended.
I agree. I don't think they'll re-sign Dion Lewis, so I think he'll be the only one there. Owen, you don't really make the best decisions, as we see in this year's fantasy league, but tell us anyway.
Yeah, when you don't look at your team every day.
That's your fault.
Like Max Bailey does.
Okay, sorry.
He honestly, hopefully this is off the record here. He paid me $5 to take control of my team, and he still couldn't get a win. So that.
What do you mean? I ended the game on I ended the year on a 7-game winning streak.
And didn't make the playoffs.
I did not.
Just throwing that
Keep
in there.
going.
Correct.
Who'd
So
you rather have, Henry or Carson?
getting back, yeah, definitely Henry.
Yeah.
But I have to disagree with that last statement you made about how they're not going to re-sign Dion Lewis. I think he's going to stay there.
Really?
He's a good relief back.
He's a pass catcher, yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely, a versatile back for sure.
But I think they kind of split carries this year, or not carries, but split time, and I think next year to be more in the favor of Henry.
Very, very true.
Yes.
I agree with that.
David, James Conner or Melvin Gordon? This is an interesting one.
Oh, okay. So
Who would you rather have?
Yeah, I was just confused because he's.
I switched it up on you. I know.
Yeah, yeah.
I know. I like to do that.
I think I'd rather have Melvin Gordon. I
Yeah.
think the Steelers are gonna be like a bit of a different team next year. I mean, no, I'm sorry. They still pass the ball a lot because that's how their offense works. I feel like they're not gonna be like. I mean, AB is most likely going to be out. Le'Veon's definitely out.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're still going to pass the ball a good amount.
Well, don't you think without AB they'll be forced to run the ball more, or maybe throw the ball more often to the running back?
Yeah, that's definitely a possibility. But I feel like they might be down a lot of games. This year they kind of like played a lot of like
Catch up.
Yeah, like they had a lot of mistakes. But the Chargers, I think they're like a lot more well balanced.
Mm-hmm.
They have a lot of pass, they have a lot of run.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm going with Melvin Gordon here.
Tyler, Connor, or Gordon?
I'm going with James Conner.
Really?
I agree that Antonio Brown's going to be out of Pittsburgh. And, Big Ben's getting old.
Yes.
And he's only going to be throwing a juju. And I think James Conner is going to get a lot of touches. And fantasy owners are going to reap the rewards.
Yeah. Gordon does have injury concerns too, so I think that'll have to factor into your decision. Like Connor got injured this year for sure, but Gordon, has had repeated injuries. Anyway, Devontae Adams or Antonio Brown? Owen, who do you think had more fantasy points this season?
Antonio Brown.
Antonio Brown. Tyler?
Devontae Adams. Not even close.
David?
Devontae Adams.
Owen is correct.
What?
It was Antonio Brown.
Wait, AB had more fantasy points?
He did, yes. I think, again,
Non-PPR?
non-PPR.
Oof.
Antonio had about 15 touchdowns to Adams' 13. So, I mean, Adams had almost 90 more receiving yards. A total of 0.9 points separated the two of them. But Owen is in the lead 2-1 to 0 for Tyler. Dave, who would you rather have on your team next year, Adams or Antonio? And this is an interesting one because we don't know where Antonio will be.
Yeah, it's a little little risky to call it now because we really don't know where AB's going to go. It's going to be the Steelers or he might go to San Francisco. But I'll go with Adams. I think he's their main guy, and he proved himself this season as a top receiver in the league. I feel like he's just gonna get more like more catches and yards. But I think AB has like the better touchdown upside. But Devontae Adams this year has just been like consistent. So I just like that as an owner.
Tyler, next year, who do you got, Adams or Antonio?
Devontae Adams. He's a drama queen, and it's that simple.
But he's talented.
And he's a drama queen, and you know.
But he's talented.
Devontae Adams is probably going to have a better quarterback than wherever Antonio Brown ends up. I think that's safe to say, likely, especially if he ends up with like the 49ers.
Or Jimmy G's good, but
He's no Aaron Rodgers.
he's not.
And yeah, I just think the transition might hurt a little bit also. I got to go with Devontae Adams.
Owen, who do you got?
Devontae Adams.
Again? All right, next question. Austin Hooper or Trey Burton? Who had more fantasy?
Austin Hooper.
Austin Hooper, Tyler says. Dave, who do you got?
I got Hooper.
Owen, who do you have?
Same.
You guys are all incorrect. It was Trey Burton. Again, I think Austin Hooper, he had a lot of receptions, but Trey Burton, 2 more touchdowns. He had 2 rushing yards. There's something. A total of 1.1 points separated the 2 players. You guys are all incorrect again. That's pretty bad. Hooper or Burton next year? Tyler.
Burton.
Yeah?
Just going to keep getting better.
He's young.
Yeah, that's about it.
Owen?
Burden for sure. Again, the young age definitely helps out in this
Dave?
increasingly difficult league.
Yes.
I'm going with Hooper.
Wow.
He definitely has a better quarterback. As in my opinion, Mitch Trubisky is one of the worst starting QBs in the league.
Whoa.
I'm putting that out there.
Whoa.
So yeah, I think the Falcons. I don't think they'll be a playoff contender, but I think I said not. They won't be a playoff contender.
I think they will. I think they're a good team.
They are a good team, but like with they had a lot of players lost to injury last year, so I think they'll be like more well balanced, which might like lose some of Hooper's upside, but I still take him over Trey Burton.
All right, question number 5. 3 choices now: Aaron Rodgers, Jared Goff, or Drew Brees. Dave, who you have?
I'm going with Rodgers.
You are.
Yeah. With Breeze, he can sometimes be like. He sometimes has monster games, and other times he has like 8 or 9 point games.
Yeah.
Because of their diverse offense, they can hand off to Kamara or Ingram, who might not be there next year.
Hopefully not.
And then with Goff, he's also a little streaky. We saw this year, especially the Super Bowl, kind of like messed up, and we saw the game against the Bears where he threw 4 picks. In my opinion, Rodgers is like the safer option, and he's Aaron Rodgers.
Tyler, who you have? Who had more points?
Jared Goff.
Jared Goff. Okay. Owen, who had more points?
Drew Brees.
Okay, all different answers, and it was Aaron Rodgers. It was kind of tricky because Aaron Rodgers seemed to have a down year, but it was better than Goff and Breeze. Next year, who would you rather have, Rodgers, Goff, or Breeze?
Drew Brees.
Yeah.
He's an animal, and I don't care about his age. He's still going to be an animal, and he's got the weapons. He's got a great team.
Does he?
Yes, I believe he has.
Name
a good
3
team.
receivers on that team.
Michael Thomas.
Yep.
Ted Ginn.
Yep.
And that guy. Yep.
Traquan Smith.
Traquan Smith.
Okay, Owen.
I'm going to have to go with Goff just because he's a young quarterback and he just competed in his very first Super Bowl, so he's getting a lot of experience with that.
A lot of experience being really bad.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, not everybody's first Super Bowl is a good one.
Eli's was
And look where Eli is now.
2-time Super Bowl MVP.
That's what I'm saying. He's, maybe he doesn't hit the first one, but you look back in history, and there's definitely some quarterbacks that go to the Super Bowl for the first time, maybe have a subpar game, but they come back the next season. I love Sean McVay's coaching style over there. I think he fits in great. And yeah, I'm thinking Goff.
David, it seemed like you loved Rodgers. Is that who you'll go with?
I love me some Rodgers. I'm going with Rodgers.
All right, question 6. Jordan Howard, Lamar Miller, or Kenyon Drake, who had more fantasy points? Tyler.
What team is Lamar Miller on?
What do you think?
Texans?
Yes.
Okay.
Can we have an answer?
Come back to me.
Dave, who you have?
I'll go with Jordan Howard.
Jordan Howard. Owen?
Kenyon Drake.
Kenyon Drake.
Lamar Miller.
Okay, Dave. was correct there. Jordan Howard was the correct answer. Next year, I have to say I'd rather have Kenyon Drake. I'm not sure if Frank Gore is going to be in Miami again.
What about Kalen Balazs? He's coming for that starting spot.
All right. I mean, so is Tariq Cohen in Chicago, and so is Donta Foreman in Houston. I mean, all these guys are going to have guys next to them to try and take their spots. But I think Drake will be a bigger part in the offense this year as opposed to last year. Dave, what about you?
My opinion, I'll go Lamar Miller.
Lamar Miller,
Yeah,
the old man
the old man.
at the sea.
Yes, he's very old, but I don't know. He had some. He showed some flashes this year, and the Texans, they got off to like a really rough start. So I feel like
They did.
if they play like they did at like the middle point of the season, and not like they did at the end and the beginning, I feel like it'll be a lot more balanced in offense. They might have some big leads, and hand it off to good old Lamar. So
All right, next question. Larry Fitzgerald, Corey Davis, or Alshon Jeffrey. Tyler, you have yet to get a correct answer. Will this be the one?
Can you name him again for me?
Larry Fitzgerald, Corey Davis, or Alshon
Larry
Jeffrey?
Fitzgerald. He
Okay.
picked it up at the end of the season.
Maybe.
Consistent games. It's
Maybe.
Larry Fitzgerald, no
Maybe.
question.
Owen, who you got?
Alshon Jeffrey.
Dave?
Corey D.
Corey D. Tyler, I love the confidence, but it was not Larry Fitzgerald. It was Alshon Jeffrey, even with the injury. I think Fitzgerald, another one of those guys. I mean, he catches a lot of passes, but doesn't really get in the end zone that much, especially with the Cardinals' offense. And Alshon, when he did play, Carson Wentz, one of his favorite targets. And even with Foles, he found success. So it was Jeffrey. We got some kickers here. Want to show some love to the kickers as well. Rosas, Harrison Butker, or Jason Myers?
I'm going with Cody Parkey.
Well, that was a original one. Tyler, who's your real answer? Rosas, Butker, or Myers?
Rosas.
Rosas. Owen, what do you have?
Myers.
Dave?
I'm going with the best kicker in the league, Mr. Aldrick Rosas.
David.
One-time Pro Bowler. What is it?
It was Harrison Butker.
But he
I
was
love
second.
the passion there. I do think he's the best kicker, but I guess he just doesn't really produce fantasy points. So right now, it is David 3 points, Owen 3 points, and Tyler
Tyler, how many points does Tyler have?
0.
That's cute.
Yeah. So, last question. Some defenses. We also have a tiebreaker. I came prepared in case you two get the correct answer or you both get it wrong, which I predict will happen.
Wow.
Best scoring defense, Minnesota Vikings. The Patriots from New England. Or the Chiefs, who reside in Kansas City. Tyler, I mean, you can take a shot, but you
I'm
don't
getting
really
right,
matter.
and it's
Go.
the Patriots.
Okay. Owen.
I think it's the Chiefs.
Dave, for the win, possibly, or for the tie?
Minnesota Vikings.
No, it was the Chiefs.
Oh,
What?
big dumb.
How?
Okay. No, wait, no, it was the Patriots.
Oh, yeah.
Tyler,
Oh, yeah.
That was a sick joke, Max Bailey.
It wasn't a joke, it was just a mistake. Tiebreaker, worth 3 points.
Oh, I'm winning here, baby.
Steve Harvey.
David and Owen with 3, Tyler with 1. This is it. This is for all the money. Who has more fantasy points? 5 players, different positions. Was it Jeff Driscoll, Jalen Richard, John Brown, Curtis Samuel, or Zay Jones? Tyler, you have to answer first.
Curtis Samuel.
Curtis Samuel. Owen, what do you have?
I'm a Bills fan. Zay Jones.
Dave?
Going with my boy, Johnny Brown.
Johnny Brown or John Brown?
John Brown.
Okay. Tyler, you think David got it correct?
I think David got it.
You think David got it correct? Okay. The correct answer is
None of the above.
Zay Jones. Yeah, we can move on to the outro. Tyler, would you like to send us out?
Goodbye, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
See you around, no BSers.